I wonder how this game takes Medusa. Well, we're gonna find out because I'm going there next. Okay, do we have anything new about Freddy? I think this was due. This is interesting. Calliope visited Aphrodite and Eros the night she died. Calliope was scared of something, but wouldn't tell them what it was. Now, they regret not pressing her about it more, but it still tells me one thing. Calliope knew something was going to happen to her. Maybe she already knew when she met me at the gymnasium. Maybe she thought she might die. And that's why she seemed so sad, resigned. So whatever happened that night, it didn't come as a surprise. I went to Aphrodite's party, and it was less of a party and more of a funeral. I guess Aphrodite never quite got over her terrible experience during the war, so now she passes on her eidolon? Is that how they said that? Every 20 years or so in order to forget what happened to her for a while. The entire thing sounds really macabre, but a lot of the other idols seem okay with it. Everyone except Calliope, it seemed. Eros told me all about what Aphrodite went through during the war. How she was kidnapped by the enemy, how she was freed by her husband, Hephaestus, who she never even got to thank or say goodbye to. She's riddled with so much guilt and trauma, and she can't escape any of it. As soon as her memories return, she's in constant agony, even if she hides it pretty well. Even so, he doesn't think what she is doing is the right answer to her problems. It certainly hasn't helped so far. I don't know if I can do as Eros asks. I don't know if it's even possible to persuade Aphrodite to... what? To suck it up? To muscle through it? I guess I'll have to figure it out soon. Apollo said something about Aphrodite which has stuck with me. He says she chooses successors who are kind, generous people because she thinks that, in time, that will make her a better person. Once the song was over, I couldn't do it. I couldn't take away the rest Aphrodite wanted so badly. She's gone now, and her eidolon has passed on to Venus. I don't think she was behind what happened to Calliope, but if she was, then I guess her secrets went with her. And that'll have to be okay. I'll figure it out. So Apollo and I kind of danced after the party, and there was this moment where I thought, are we going to kiss? Did I want it to happen? Is he interested in me that way? Could I be dating a Greek god? This is so weird. I met Eros later on at Aphrodite's party, and suddenly his dark mood makes sense. It seems that he's Aphrodite's constant caretaker. He's watched her throw these parties and die, over and over, and I think he's finally reached his limit. He can't stand Aphrodite's pain, but I think he doesn't know what to do about it. He's hoping I can convince her to stop, which is a tall order for sure, and I don't know that it would actually make her better. Apollo said that he thinks Eros has stayed with Aphrodite all this time because he feels like he owes her. Once upon a time, it was Eros who was the eternal disaster, Apollo's words, and she was the caregiver. So now he must return the favor, no matter how it hurts his soul. I think Apollo's probably right. In the end, I couldn't do what Eros asked. I couldn't take that choice away from Aphrodite. I think he understood. I guess he didn't have an alternative to offer anyhow. But it was still hard to watch him sink in on himself when it was all over. I hope he and Venus will be alright. Talking to Venus and Eros after the party, they more or less corroborated part of what Asterion told me. Calliope went to the reliquary that night. She knew something big was going down, and she was really frightened. They also agreed Medusa, if anyone, would know more. So I guess she's next on my list. In the end, I let Aphrodite go through with the ritual. She deserved mercy, just like Apollo and Venus said. So now, Venus is her, just without her memories, at least for a while, as they both intended. I hope I did the right thing. Okay, Medusa time. Okay, going to see Medusa.
This must be the Viper's Nest. Scariest part of town, no sign. Just that one dude glaring at everyone. Well, I'm here now. Just another day in the life of an idol.
Oh, there you are. Man, this place is the worst. I think someone peed on me.
Why does she have...
What are you doing here?
What, you thought I wouldn't notice you skulking off? You didn't even bring any equipment, Grace.
You have equipment?
What kind of equipment does one bring to a meeting with Medusa?
This isn't a meeting, Grace. You're not here to sell her on your business plan.
Please tell me you don't have any weapons in there.
Do you not see
Don't get me stopped on the bus. Look, you're gonna need some backup in there, okay? Do you even know anything about Medusa?
Do you think she actually turns people to stone?
Let's hope not, or this could be a short visit. Or a really, really long one.
I'm serious.
Perseus used a mirror to reflect Medusa's gaze back at her. Oh, maybe you could use your phone.
You think that would work?
Unless you brought a mirror, Grace, it's all you got.
Okay, I'll bite. What do you know about Medusa?
Well, you know she was human once, right? And she was cursed?
Apollo mentioned it, yeah.
Cursed by Athena. Or so one of the stories goes, anyway.
But doesn't she work for Athena?
Hey, don't look at me. My knowledge of this stuff stops at a few thousand years ago.
She was once human, but she's definitely a monster, right?
Yeah, one of the worst. But, you know, so was the Minotaur.
Asterion said she was scary. I have a feeling she's not like him.
Then I guess you need to be prepared for the possibility that she is as bad as the legends say. Though some of the stories also say that she was wronged by Athena and that what was done to her was an injustice.
And Athena just follows the rules, right? Okay, enough talking. Time to do this.
Let's go.
You have a plan for how we're getting inside, I hope?
Maybe. You're here to help?
Always.
Then I have a plan.
I don't trust us with a distraction. Let's find another entrance. That seems like the smart idea. Although I don't think one on the roof is very good. Oh gosh.
Nothing in your bag for bashing a lock, I take it?
I thought this was an adventure, not break and enter.
What do you think adventures are, Freddy?
I still can't believe you can do that. It's like I don't even know you. And is this a good idea? What if Medusa, calls the cops?
As I recall, your big idea was to distract the guy at the front door with firecrackers.
They're legal. And loud?
Do I even want to know what else is in there?
No, it's probably better if you don't.
I want to know.
And there we go. Coming?
Oh, hell yes. I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Time to split up and have a look around.
I'm sure Medusa can't be hard to find. Considering, you know. Hi, buddy, you good? I don't like where this is going. Oh, those are teeth.
Such a long day, dreaming of tonight, this sacred bite. Hello, who's that there? You've messed up my flow. Just get your drink, girl, and take your seat. Oh, it's the muse. There
Bye,
are
buddy.
sacred bites, and then there's this sacred bite.
I don't remember Medusa being bitey.
So wrong, so right. I'm really gonna hate myself tonight.
Before you start the show, Pan said to say hello. That's what he said to say.
Well, any friend of Pan's is a friend of Pan's.
Okay. I hate
to interrupt your flow. There's just some things I need to know. I wish there was another way.
Yes, you do. Now, looking
Whoa.
into
Cool.
your body goes freely every time I see it tenders turning jelly.
Fight it.
I see it renders. What'd you say, Grace? You okay, Grace? Where's the game face this time? You are currently experiencing something I like to call the preparation. Any questions or comments? That's right, it is widely known that I can turn folks to stone. But oh, I won't this time. Cause this time I find dine that oozy musy bloods my wine this time. Look into me. Oh, she's looking away. Hey,
I'm just a temporary muse. Wait,
what? A temporary muse.
I'm not worth the price.
It's not
I'm
something
you
you can choose.
Not some exotic
slide. You
I'm
can fade
Oh god.
away from me. Nice try.
Where's Freddy?
Athena made you like this.
She was mad at me. So
Well, why was she mad?
she said I'd been bad.
Had you been?
No. Now look into me.
Listen, Medusa. She hides you in shame, but she uses you all the same. You could live another way. If I was treated like you, I'd be a monster too.
That's kind to say, but you could never be a creature like me. You didn't kill
Kill Calliope. So you know that it's true that I didn't do it.
No.
Yes, you do know. You know, does that mean Athena knows?
No. Okay. It's dinner time.
I want to fight. I don't know what it's gonna do for me, but I want to try it.
Fine grace, I'll take
To tell her you know that I'm what? Bait?
break
The feature show. Come on, try.
But
Let's go.
That is so creepy. I love it. Freddy, some help. Oh, for fuck's sake.
You think that will hurt me, child? You have not done your homework.
Oh, sorry, just trying to get your attention.
Why?
Yeah, I've been watching, and I'm willing to bet you can't turn me to stone before I burn your snakes off.
Hey, stand down, Freddy. Let's give Medusa some space.
Yeah, okay. I'm watching her, though.
You ready to talk?
Oh, fine. Fine. What exactly is it that you want, pretty muse?
Did you try to eat Calliope too? Why were you at the reliquary?
You were at the reliquary the night Calliope was murdered. I want to know why.
Blast! This is why I didn't tell Lady Athena. I knew it would come back to haunt me. I only followed pretty Calliope to the reliquary. I never spoke to her, never even caught up to her. I swear it.
That's what Asterion told us, more or less.
But you were there that night.
Yes, I admit it. Ugh, Lady Athena will have my head. She'll mount it on a pike. Whatever you might think of me, I had no part in the Muse's death. I did not even know she'd been attacked until I saw her fleeing.
You followed Calliope to the reliquary. Why were you shadowing her at all?
I am Lady Athena's spy master, yes. Calliope has been trouble from time to time.
So you were spying on her?
I keep watch over every idol who no longer lives in Olympus, but especially Calliope. When I realized she was headed to the reliquary that eve, I followed. I had a duty to Athena.
Did you ever find out why Calliope went there?
I was never close enough to ask. When I drew near to the reliquary, that is when I saw the Muse fleeing. She was frightened, bloodied, dying.
You said you didn't know she'd been attacked.
Let me guess, that made you hungry.
I gave chase, yes, but to discover the truth. I knew Lady Athena would wish to know.
That does make sense from your perspective.
I didn't learn the truth until later. And then it was far too late.
Asterion said he caught up with you out in the fog. Is that right?
I thought he was the one who had attacked her. He is a great beast of a creature.
He
Says
killed
you.
Hecate's cat by accident, but this still seems hard to believe.
Yes, I had only realized my mistake once I caught up to him, and by then the Muse was gone.
And you never found her afterwards?
I thought she might flee to her pretty home, or to the sharp and prickly Persephone. She did neither.
Yeah, she came to see me. You haven't told Athena any of this?
Do I need to light things up again? 'Cause I'll do it.
I love Pretty.
I told her Calliope was at the reliquary that night. I did not tell her I was also there.
Why not? Wouldn't Athena find out from Hecate anyway?
I was not thinking clearly. I panicked. Lady Athena barely tolerates my presence as it is. If she thought I was involved in any way, if she even suspected...
Why should we believe you? You did just try to eat me, remember?
I am telling you the truth.
Right, and not at all trying to cover your own ass.
You presented an opportunity. Oh, to taste the sweet, sweet blood of a hero once again. It's a problem. I've been working on it, I really have.
Uh-huh.
Well, what of Pan? The only reason I knew Calliope was going to the reliquary is because he informed me.
So much for never lying to me.
What were the odds, honestly?
Let's put a pin in that for the moment, shall we?
I am a monster. It's true, I do not deny it. It's still, I did not kill the Muse.
Okay, let's say we believe you. For the moment.
Whatever you do, pretty Muse, I beg you. Do not tell Athena of my indiscretion. Show mercy.
Oh, it's okay, we won't.
I know what I am horrifies you. It horrifies me as well. I cannot help what I am. I did not ask to be cursed like this.
Indiscretion, huh? That's quite the word for it.
I cannot apologize for my hunger. I can only apologize that I am so very weak in the face of it.
I'll think about it.
I am a lost and cursed thing. No idol. And if Lady Athena should learn the truth...
Yes.
I hope you find what you seek, pretty Muse. And that we meet again someday. And sing a different song.
Okay, bye, Anjali. Who next?
He knew. Right from the start, Pan knew Calliope was there that night.
Yeah, and who could have foreseen that he was lying to you the entire time? Who, I ask you, a mystery even the Oracle couldn't have penetrated.
Thank you, Freddy.
It just doesn't make sense. Pan sent me to the reliquary. If he's involved, why would he do that?
I don't know. Guilt, maybe? Anyhow, you probably have a few questions for Mr. Goatman. I'll see you at home.
Mr. Goatman.
Would you really have tried to burn Medusa's face off? With an aerosol can?
Hell yeah! One hint of googly eyes and...
What would I do without you?
You'll never need to answer that question, Grace.
When does this act finish? This one's very long. Hello, Pan.
Oh, if it isn't, the lovely Grace?
You knew. Right from the start, you knew Calliope was there that night.
Well, yes. She asked for the key and I gave it to her, no questions asked. I told you I didn't know what happened to Calliope, and that's the truth. I did not. So I nudged you in the right direction.
So you were what? Just trying to be helpful? You still aren't telling me something.
What possible reason would I have to—
Tell me, right now.
Medusa learned that Calliope was going to the reliquary because I told her. Now, before you say anything, I had no idea of the fate awaiting our dear muse. And you yourself said Medusa was not responsible. I simply had to know if I'd inadvertently, rather innocently—
Sold her out? She came to you for help, and you gave her whereabouts to the highest bidder.
I am trying to help, Grace. In my way.
What do you mean, in my way? What way is that?
The way where I don't take all the blame.
What else will I discover, Pan? I'd rather learn it now than later.
I wish I could tell you, Grace. I truly do.
Okay, bye. I'd intended to go to Medusa's alone, but of course Freddy showed up, all kitted out like an adventurer. Should I be thankful she wants to help, or should I be worried that she's not taking the idol seriously enough? Medusa corroborated Asterian's story. She followed Calliope to the reliquary, saying she fled there, having already been attacked. It's bizarre though. What was she even doing there? If Medusa isn't lying to me, I'm left with Hecate and the Minotaur being the only other idols with access to the reliquary. Either that, or there was a third person who somehow got in and out undetected. Is this even possible for me to find out? Or am I stuck now? So, I don't know which ones I've read anymore. I wish it had some sort of indicator of which ones you have read and which you haven't. Oh, I think I've read that one. I confronted Pan about the key. He didn't deny giving it to Calliope. What's more, he admitted that he told Medusa where Calliope went right after she left. He sold her out. He claims he didn't know what happened to her at the reliquary, that he sent me to find out, but can I believe him? Medusa isn't an idol, I'm told. She's an immortal creature. One who used to be mortal until she was cursed by Athena. Unfairly, which appears to be a theme. She accompanies the idols to survive, working for Athena in return for their aid. The turning people to stone thing? Totally real, except sometimes she just paralyzes them instead, so she can eat them. Her curse includes an insatiable hunger. Yes, and I almost got to experience it firsthand. Yikes. Medusa more or less corroborated what Asterian told us. She followed Calliope to the reliquary the night she died. Why? Because Calliope is sometimes trouble, so Medusa keeps an eye on her for Athena. Medusa claims she didn't kill her, that Calliope fled the reliquary, having already been stabbed. But by who? Assuming Medusa isn't lying through her pointy teeth, she could have chased after Calliope, eager to chow down on her, and Calliope just got away. Medusa seems more terrified of Athena blaming her than anything, though. Her fear feels real, so I think she's telling the truth. Maybe talk to Apollo again? Hi, buddy.
Grace, back again so soon. Did you find Medusa after all? You've been on my mind ever since you told me about her.
I did, and it was fine. I told you it would be. Okay, it almost wasn't fine, but it worked out. Nobody got hurt.
I see. Perhaps you'd best tell me what happened then. That sounds like quite the harrowing experience. One that could have gone very poorly indeed.
I know, but let's focus on the important part of the story.
Which is that Medusa seems to have been cleared. And that brings us back to Pan. Have you confronted him about it?
He admitted to selling out Calliope, but not to killing her. I don't know if I can believe him.
I've never thought of Pan as a liar so much as a manipulator. Still, he would do anything to protect himself. I'll have to give this some thought. I did tell you we could discuss your memories and the Eidolon more in depth after the party. Did you have any questions, or?
When all these memories start to return, will I feel different?
Well, let's see. It starts as dreams you'll have of places you've never been, people you've never met, fleeting images, feelings. Then they'll appear while you're awake. You'll be eating breakfast and suddenly recall when you last ate something similar in the 17th century. The only difficult part is that eventually it can be hard to differentiate between your life and all those other lives. They blend together.
It does sound confusing.
A little, yeah. And not all the memories will be good ones. It can take time to process.
How many times have you died? Can I ask that?
Well, we call it passing on, meeting the Eidolon, and it's fine. I've passed on 12 times that I can recall.
So your name isn't really Apollo?
Most recently it was Lucas. Everyone Lucas ever knew is gone, however, so these days I prefer Apollo again.
Lucas? Seems weird to think of you as a Lucas.
It was weird for him, too. Much like yourself, Lucas becoming Apollo was somewhat of a surprise.
Sounds like there's a story there. Tell me about this Lucas. How did he become you? Or is it how you became Apollo?
Apollo had taken to surfing. He left the city without permission and roamed the coast looking for... Well, I'm not sure now. Whatever it was, he found it one night when a giant wave took him down. He was drowning, and I thought, this is finally it. But it wasn't. Lucas saw Apollo struggling and swam out to save him. He pulled us ashore, but it was too late. It took a long time to realize what happened. I didn't return to the city until years later. By then, everyone thought I was Apollo's chosen successor.
So no trial for you, huh?
It wasn't easy at first, without memories or anyone to guide me, but no, nothing like that.
Wait, what would have happened if Lucas hadn't tried to rescue you? What if no one was there when you...
When I died, then the Eidolon of Apollo's line would have ended forever, I think.
You think?
There have been stories about eidolons that survive for a time and go wandering. That's probably all they are, though. Stories. It's not something we've had much opportunity to study, but normally death without passing on is how an idol really dies. Forever.
You said it becomes hard to differentiate your life from the others. How hard, exactly? It'll still be me, right?
Grace, would you say that who you are is at least in part due to your experiences?
I guess so, sure.
Well, you'll have a lot more experiences. They won't feel like someone else's either. It will feel like you did all those things. They will shape who you are now, just as they shaped Calliope and all those who came before her. The good news is, you won't get all the memories. Each time we pass on, the older memories fade.
Wait, how is it good that old memories start to fade?
We're many thousands of years old, Grace. If all of those memories returned with perfect clarity, you'd drown in them.
Yeah, but doesn't that mean you've all forgotten so much?
Tell me, how much do you remember from when you were a small child?
Bits and pieces, I guess. Not much.
It's the same for us. The further I try to think back, the more blurry it becomes. I remember the important bits, but little else. Some of the really old memories. There's so many mortal stories that get mixed up with them, things my previous selves learned as legends. It becomes hard to tell. It takes time, Grace. You'll remember all the lives you've led, but at a pace you can handle, and nothing more.
It's a lot
Alright,
to
bye, buddy.
consider. Assuming I'll even have time to worry about it, what with the trial coming.
Hopefully this eases whatever concerns you might have had. Anything else you'd like to discuss while you're here?
Oh, dear God, there are so many options.
I'd like
More
to know
about
a
you.
little
Why
more
not?
about you. All I know is you live in a dump, you have an oracle, and you...
I'm not sure what to tell you. One day has bled into the next for so long I feel like I've been lost in the spaces in between.
Wow, that's a bit dramatic.
Yeah, well, it comes naturally. Music and the arts were once under my purview as a god.
How did that get decided? Did you have a big hat full of pieces of paper and you all picked at random?
I love that concept.
No, we chose them for ourselves. Some, at least. Others were given to us by our priests. We collected godly responsibilities like marbles.
People collect marbles?
Oh, or whatever it is mortals collect these days. Cars, perhaps? The point is, we took our godly duties very seriously.
Tell me more about Calliope. You and her were good friends, right?
For centuries, we were far more. I was the god of the arts, and the muses were my constant companions. We went everywhere together. They had many names, but the three most common were Clio, Talia, and Calliope. The sisters of beauty, I called them, though they weren't always women.
I never thought of that. Do idols change gender a lot?
Most of us seek out inheritors who are like us, I suppose, but not all. Calliope, in fact, was a man in her previous incarnation.
Sounds about right.
Christoph, I think his name was. A poet Calliope adored. I was surprised when she made him a muse.
You must have been very different back when you were a proper god.
I think most of us were. We saw ourselves as, I don't know, teachers. Mortals were our students, and we guided them to enlightenment. We thought we were special, infallible. I was as magnificent as the sun, and I surrounded myself with those who basked in my radiance.
That doesn't sound like you.
Yeah, I was arrogant. If there was a man or woman I desired, then I had to have them, or there would be consequences.
Lovely.
You wouldn't have liked me. I wouldn't have liked me.
So what is Persephone's beef with you exactly? Is it just about what Hades did to her?
That's no small thing.
It seems more personal than that.
I mentioned how Persephone's kidnapping almost meant war between Olympus and Hades, yes? Well, while this was all going on, Persephone managed to escape the underworld, and I'm the one she encountered first.
Uh-oh.
Hades was hot on her heels, and I had a choice. Either do battle with Hades and start the war right then and there, or let him take her back. Zeus would have had my head if I had sparked a war. Yet all I still think of are Persephone's eyes as Hades smugly took back his prisoner. It's not my finest moment.
There are so many options. I want to know all of them, but it is going on for so long for one act.
Apollo, have you ever tried, I don't know, talking to someone about how you feel?
I will never understand this modern fascination with therapy and focusing on one's feelings.
It might help. You never know.
Yes, I've tried it. There was one I used to speak to. Hecate enchanted him never to reveal what I told him. It was interesting. Frankly, my time with you has proven far more beneficial.
I'm not a therapist, Apollo.
I understand. And I don't mean to rely on you, only that it makes me happy just to know you, Grace.
Who did Calliope become after that poet, Christoph?
You have to realize we're already into the period where Calliope and I weren't really speaking. She showed up one day in her new form, the one you met. An opera singer whose name she never revealed. We fought, as I recall. I told her she couldn't pass on every time she met an artist she fell in love with. Eventually she'd forget everything about who we were and where we came from. She said she'd rather forget than wallow in old memories like I or the other idols were doing. It was time to wake up and make the best of our situation. Calliope was an idealist without compromise. Always. She hated what we'd become. What I'd become. She wasn't wrong.
From how you describe it, you and Calliope fought a lot.
As often as we saw each other, which became less and less as time wore on. However, she fought with everyone. Calliope hated the idols being kept secret. She and Athena would get into screaming matches over the rules, and it got so I could no longer protect her. She moved out of Olympus years ago and kept to herself. I just assumed she was wrapped up with some new artist when I got the news.
Do you regret not making up with her?
Every day I think about our last conversation and what I should have said or done differently. The problem with immortality is that you think you have all the time in the world.
It wasn't only fighting with Calliope, right? Surely there were good things too.
Is that how it sounds? No, she was marvelous. A force to be reckoned with if there ever was one. In the darkest days during the war, it was her songs that gave us hope. She kept Aphrodite alive through sheer determination, I think. Calliope cared. About us, about art, about people she'd only just met. It was her greatest strength as well as her greatest weakness.
I wonder why she picked me. I don't feel like I'm any of those things.
You underestimate yourself, Grace. I see a lot of her in you. She chose well.
It's never ending.
I'd like to know a little more about the idols. I am one now, right?
You are. What would you like to know?
Well, what are we? Where did we come from? If an idol is a soul that moves from person to person, it must have started somewhere, right?
The short answer is, we don't know. If I think far enough back, I can remember bits and pieces. I remember my first Pythian games, the day the idols split in two over Troy, the day my first son died. But before that, nothing. None of us do. I vaguely recall the very first Apollo many thousands of years ago, but was he the original? Did he appear out of the ether? I couldn't tell you.
Psst. Isn't it strange to not know where you come from? For all you know, the idols could be aliens.
Interesting. The notion that there might be some other place far away where we're the norm is comforting. Sadly, our memories are filled with blanks. There was a war with beings we called the Titans. A terrible conflict where half our number died, yet do I remember a single battle. The last was after Rome fell. Zeus called us together to relay the news, told us to prepare for battle. And then, in the blink of an eye, I was in the 16th century. What made us forget 1,000 years? What happened during that time? We don't know. Athena calls that period the gap.
The gap you mentioned. What was that like? Did you just wake up one day, or...
I know I was alive. I passed on my eidolon who knows how many times, yet the moment I woke up, as you call it, all memory of that period was gone. It was Athena who found us. I was in France, I think. She came to my farm, and the moment I laid eyes on her, I just knew. It all came back. Did someone do that to us? Did we scatter to the winds for 1,000 years on purpose? It's a mystery.
What about Athena? I mean, she's the one who found you, right? She must have been aware.
Athena claims she awoke on her own and spent the next century locating the other idols. We've pieced together very little of the gap or of our origins. We simply live with it. Gods we may be, but I'm afraid we don't have all the answers.
What happened to the other
Come on,
muses?
man.
You mentioned 2 others. Were they lost in the war?
Cleo perished centuries before, the victim of an obsessed writer she'd spurned. He kept her in a cage as his personal muse.
Oh, lovely.
That's pretty dark.
It was. By the time we found her, she was already... Well, it's enough to say her captor didn't survive her for long. Talia, however, was lost to us on the very last day of the war. We were about to leave on the ship, but she just never showed up.
Do you know what happened to her?
We never found out. I worried for years, even hired people to look, but as far as I can tell, she up and vanished into smoke that day. The war had ground her down. I was upset, but not surprised.
Earlier you mentioned your son dying. Did I hear that right? Can idols have children?
It was rare, but yes. Back in ancient times, some of them even became idols themselves.
Some of the idols are actually family, then.
Not anymore. Most of our children met terrible ends. A gift of the fates, perhaps. I don't know. The ones who weren't idols... It's hard. Watching your children grow old and die. Never understanding why they can't have the same immortality you do. Why you can't grant it to them.
The lore in this game
My
is very
first son.
interesting.
Is why I'm not permitted in Hades any longer. Let's simply say that most idols have stopped having children, and maybe leave it at that.
Permitted in Hades? Permitted in Hades?
Tell me more about the war. It seems to have had a huge effect on all of you.
I don't think we would have left the old world otherwise. It was home.
From Aphrodite's song, I know Ares betrayed everyone. What did you do?
I caused it. I foresaw what was going to happen, so I tried to prevent it. I told Ares. I figured if the god of war couldn't stop what was to come, then
And that's why he betrayed everyone.
he decided the idols were a lost cause. Because I told him we were.
Has your power ever helped anyone? Even once?
On occasion. The fates are cruel, however, and they don't like being meddled with. My time afterwards was spent helping the survivors, keeping us on the move. If Hephaestus hadn't intervened, we would have all been captured.
And he's...
Oh, gone now, we assume, like so many others. We are nothing more than refugees from a war long over, Grace.
Was it hard for the idols to come to the new world? It's just a place like any other, isn't it?
I don't think it was the place so much as the condition we were in. Shell-shocked, one might say. Our entire world had been turned upside down. Suddenly, we had rules. Secrecy was paramount, and no one was permitted to leave the city. Some, like my sister Artemis, couldn't abide it.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
Goddess of the hunt. And a wild thing herself. She left, I think. Faded away without a word. As many did in the early days here. Later, Athena became even more strict. For our own good, of course, but it hasn't been easy. This city has never felt like home, so much as a temporary shelter.
That's all I can think of for now. I'll see you around.
Of course. I look forward to it.
When can I still talk to Apollo? Okay, what's new in the journal? Okay, Freddy. Nope. Calliope. Apollo finally told me about Calliope. How she took care of the idols during the darkest days after the war. How she was an idealist without compromise. And that's what the last fight between them was about. How she was once a man named Kristoff. I really wish I'd known her better before all this happened. I guess I will. Someday. I know I probably should check all of their names, but you never know who they might have brought up at some point. Did you know Apollo's name used to be Lucas? Or I guess it's better to say that the name of the person he was passed on to, which is now him. Lucas was like me, until Apollo's memories came back. I'll never get used to this. Did you know Apollo once had a son? It seems so strange. I guess because the idols talk so much about being related, even though they're not, I assumed they couldn't be. They just choose not to. I guess outliving your kids is as bad as it gets, huh? I asked Apollo about what happened during the war, and he casually mentioned that it was one of his prophecies which prompted Ares to betray the idols. Ares did it, because he was sure the idols were doomed anyway. Yeah, maybe prophecies are more trouble than they're worth after all. Anything from Athena? Apollo finally explained what Persephone's real beef with him was about. Once she managed to escape from the Underworld with Hades hot on her heels, When she finally got to Olympus, the idol she ran into was Apollo, and he did nothing to help her. I'm trying to imagine what it would have been like to be dragged away by a smug Hades while the brother you thought would help, who had to know how desperate you were, just stood there and let it happen. Apollo had no choice, but Persephone couldn't have known that. How awful a moment that had to be for them both. Nope. 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 Okay. Okay, let's just... I think these should be in the same place, so hopefully I can do them both at once.
Hey, so what's the news, Miss Muse?
Miss Muse.
Well, does a muse have a proper form of address? I just want to hear what exciting adventures you've been having.
Well, I went to a party held by the goddess of love, and she died.
Man, I always miss the really good parties. Here I was, sitting at home, just reading a book. Everything else okay, though? Do we know who the killer is yet?
Not just yet, no.
Okay, well, let me know if there's anything I can do. If I have to hustle to become your high priestess, well, so be it.
Exactly how much do you know about the Greek gods, Freddy?
I know my Greek mythology, but what I've read clearly doesn't line up with who they are today. Or who they ever were, maybe.
Still might be useful. There's gotta be some truth to those stories, right?
Maybe? Who do you want to hear about?
What about Apollo?
Okay, so the prophecy stuff checks out. Apollo was god of the sun and light, but also kind of enlightenment in general. He's always talked about as this beautiful and cultured god involved with the arts and the muses, kind of a Renaissance man before the Renaissance.
He's clearly had a rough time since those days.
Well, he was also a giant horn dog, Grace. I can list off like a dozen men and women Apollo has had as lovers, and there's probably more.
Weren't they all like that, though?
I mean, Apollo's no Zeus. He never assaulted anyone as a swan.
Assaulted
and no, they
is
aren't
putting it
all like
lightly.
that. Our sun god had a reputation.
Tell me what you know about Persephone.
Honestly, she's the least like her stories. Usually, she's either a victim or just the wife of Hades, or both.
And that's it? She was kidnapped by Hades, end of story?
Pretty much. Her mother was so angry she created winter. But otherwise, Persephone was just your average sweet and virginal fertility goddess.
You're right, that doesn't sound like her at all.
Must be hard to be defined by this one thing that happened to you thousands of years ago. I'd be pissed if everyone thought my story ended there.
Well, she is pretty pissed. That much is true. You said Pan was some kind of lust god, right?
Yeah, kind of. Pan's a god of the wild, and I guess that translates into a sort of lustfulness and earthiness, humping nymphs in the forest sort of thing.
And you don't like him.
Honestly, he's exactly what I'd expect him to be. All the stories say he's a lech and a beast. The Christians equated him with the devil. Weirdly, he's also the only god who's supposed to have died, though it's never really clear how or why. Anyhow, there's a great statue depicting Pan having sex with a goat. Next time you see him, you gotta ask him about it.
I don't want to. I'd rather not ask about that.
Do you know anything about the Muses? Or Calliope in particular?
Yeah, for starters, there were supposed to be 9, though I guess there are some sources that said there were only 4, maybe 3. Each of the muses had her specialty. Did you know that Calliope is supposed to be the muse of epic poetry? She inspired the Odyssey.
Wow, I don't even like poetry.
Yeah, it was said her singing voice was unmatched. So they got that part right, at least.
Did she also lead the ancient Greeks in giant choreographed dance numbers?
No, but she once turned a bunch of snobby princesses into magpies, so there's that.
What about Athena? Is she really supposed to be the goddess of wisdom?
Sure, but mostly that's meant as tactical knowledge. Athena wasn't all sweetness and light. She was a warrior goddess. She was also the goddess of heroes. There are loads of stories where Athena helps guys like Odysseus or Jason or Perseus.
No female heroes back in those days?
Yeah, guess not. Women were the weaker sex, which maybe is why Athena was portrayed as being vindictive. She cursed Medusa, one of her own priestesses. She turned people into spiders, struck them blind, started the Trojan War. It's the whole thing.
Don't want to be turned
Not
into
being
a
as
sweater.
wise as advertised is on brand for her, then. Just how many of these gods are there? From what I've heard, lots of idols live around here.
Well, there are tons of minor gods in Greek mythology, hundreds even, depending on how you define them. Oddly, there's never any mention of the word idols in relation to them. Maybe it's like how people worshipped idols?
I sort of assumed it was related to the eidolon.
Which is a Greek word, but I think it means ghost. An image of someone after they die.
Makes sense.
Me? I'm more amazed at all the big names missing. Not just Zeus and Hades, most of the Olympians seem to be gone. Makes you think about what's been lost. But also, what might still be out there.
You think there might be other gods out there?
Well, there are all those gods the idols say wandered off. We don't know they're dead for sure, right? They could be living it up in Australia. Who would know? Then there are all the other mythologies, hundreds of cultures, each with their own pantheon. So what's so special about the Greeks? That only their gods are real, right? And all those other pantheons could be living in secrecy, just like the idols. And that means they're hidden from each other, too. Oh, they could be everywhere and no one would know.
It's like a whole other secret side to the world.
Yeah, that's cool, right? I hope I get to meet Ganesha one day. Or maybe Lakshmi?
I wonder how much of those stories are true.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm giving you the quick version. There are reams of textbooks out there covering all this, but even they rarely agree with each other.
Really? Nothing definitive?
Ancient Greece was 3,000 years ago, Grace. Not much information survived all that time, if it was even valid to begin with.
You know what I find weird? That the idols have managed to remain completely secret all these years. Sure, they have magic and whatnot, but in all this time, nobody's found them out? Athena is that good?
Who says nobody has found them out? The way I see it, it's like UFOs.
Okay, I have to hear this.
Okay, so you could have real evidence that UFOs exist and that governments have covered it up and people still wouldn't believe it. Why? Because they'd get laughed at if they admitted it. Imagine the headline, Greek gods exist and are living among us. What website would even run that?
Weird conspiracy ones. Yeah, you're right. What are Kaz and Brian up to? You didn't tell them anything, did you?
No, I told them you came home, that you're okay, but that you're having a moment. They send their love.
Should we tell them, do you think?
What for? They have their own problems. Plus, Brian can't keep a secret to save his life, and Kaz is officially homeless.
Is he still crashing on Brian's couch?
Grace, you do know that Brian doesn't have a couch, right? Just some giant beanbag things?
Then where is
Brian
Kaz
being
sleep?
bad things.
Oh.
Yeah, it's cute. They'll tell us when they're ready. But right now, it's best just to not mix them up in this.
I should really apologize about the band. This kind of puts a dent in your plans, doesn't it?
You're right, Grace. How dare you sabotage my dreams? I am so mad I could spit.
You know what I mean. Nobody could have seen this coming, sure, but it's always been something with me.
Well, as I see it, there are two ways this goes down. One, neither of us gets back to the band. It was just a thing we did for a while before I founded a cult in your name. Or two, we get back to it and the band now has the Muse as its lead singer. Edge of Elysium becomes the coolest and most appropriate band name ever.
Ugh, I still really hate that name.
Look, Grace, you can't be the source of all the drama and name the band, okay? That's the rule.
Okay, that's enough questions for now.
You sure? I can talk all day. You know I can.
I'll
I
check
believe
back
it.
with you soon, Freddy. Time for more mystery solving.
Please tell me that's the end of Act 2. Oh. Why? I've already spoken to Apollo. That's fine. This is fine. Anything new in Freddy's journal? Nope. Okay. Oh, no.
Hi, Grace. I can just call you Grace, right?
That's my name. Where's Freddy?
She went out to get snacks. We were gonna watch TV while we waited, but, well, here you are.
I am suddenly starting to not trust you.
Will there be an idol here every time I come home? Just walking into my apartment, uninvited?
Oh, I was invited. Freddie said I could stay. I haven't touched anything, I swear.
Not really my point.
Anyway, I guess Athena wants to talk? I can zip us over to Olympus anytime, if you're free.
So this is what you do? Ferry people around?
I'm the god of messengers, baby. Travelers, doorways, any kind of transition, really. The old Hermes said that the transition part made even more sense for me, which, you know, extra cool, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I can connect any two doorways anywhere, just like that. So it's super easy to take people wherever. I don't mind.
No, all of the questions again.
You say it's easy, but do you like doing all these errands?
Huh. Yeah, I never thought about it. It's nice to have a purpose. Athena is super sweet, and she has a big, important job. Why wouldn't I want to help her out?
You can't be this nice. Are you for real?
Oh, well, the old Hermes used to say that a willingness to serve is more important than a willingness to be served.
You mentioned the old Hermes a lot. You knew him?
Yeah, I was homeless for a while. It wasn't a great time, and he took me in. Everyone's on the same journey, he used to say. Only the roads are different. And then he went on his journey. Man, I still miss him every day.
Wait, isn't he still inside you? Aren't you kind of the same person now?
Not yet. It's only been a year. Maybe I'll feel him again one day. That'd be nice.
Do I have a choice about seeing Athena? I'm not in the habit of being at anyone's beck and call.
I mean, I guess you could say no, but I wouldn't. If Athena wants something, she's gonna get it eventually. She had that look in her eyes, like she really wants to talk to you.
She could always come here. Everyone else does.
Athena entered the mortal world? And now she doesn't do that ever. Can you imagine?
How does Athena manage never entering the mortal world?
She doesn't have to, I guess. Everyone brings her everything she needs. And that creepy owl of hers? Apollo says it's her eyes out in the world. It's everywhere. Watching.
So what, she just
Hey.
never leaves the building?
She'll go to the reliquary and places like that. Just never where mortals are. She wears a toga and calls cars iron horses.
I suppose there's no point in putting it off. Do your thing. Take me to Olympus.
Okay. Oh, when you see Freddie, tell her I'm sorry I couldn't stick around for the movie. And mind if I say something?
Sure.
You've changed. I mean, from the person I met when I first came here. When, you know, you got it together really quick.
Thanks, I guess.
What do you mean? Oh, I can't be charming again. Okay, well, I guess now's the time to be clever. How are we still not in
There
Act
you are,
3?
Grace. Do have a seat.
Hi, burp.
I prefer to stand, thanks.
As you like. You've certainly been busy, haven't you? Everywhere I turn, there you are. Including the reliquary.
Oh,
I'm uncertain how you got access, but even you must have realized it's off limits, particularly for your mortal friend.
but you know what happened there. That's where Calliope was attacked.
Yet it's not where she died, Grace, is it?
So because she made it all the way to my apartment, we shouldn't care why she was bleeding to death along the way.
You think our judgment was rash? It was. In truth, I worried that giving you time, letting us all get to know you, would make it harder in the end. I am sorry, Grace. You may not believe it, but I care deeply. I care about what happens to you and to all the idols.
Athena definitely seems like the most sus.
Do you really? Let's explore where all that caring has gotten them, shall we? You're holding on with a grip so tight, your knuckles are turning white. But that's not enough, is it? Every idol I've met is either lost or broken, or both. They're all slipping through your fingers. If you actually cared about them, you'd do something about it instead of sitting up here worrying about your precious rules.
Zeus was the first to leave. King of the gods. And we don't even know what became of him. Vanished into the ether. Poseidon was next. Walked out into the seas, never to be heard from again. Ares betrayed us. Hephaestus saved us. Hades was murdered. And by one of our own. The list goes on.
I've heard most of that, sure. What does it have to do with me?
We are dying, Grace. I don't mean diminishing or drifting apart. I mean our immortality is disappearing. Very soon now, the idols will be no more. We are a legacy that spans millennia, dating back to the very dawn of humankind. So yes, I care. I will do anything and everything in my power to avoid that fate, even if it appears unfair.
You know, it's too bad. I've been an idol for 5 minutes, and I've been out there solving problems you've all wrestled with for how long now? I could have helped you, Athena. I could have helped all of you. But you don't see that, do you? You're so busy holding on to what you have, you can't see what you're throwing away.
I know we've put a great deal on your shoulders, Grace. I do. All I called you here to ask is that you please not make my job more difficult than it already is. If you have any other questions or concerns, now's the time to bring them up.
Oh my god, so many.
What do you know of Pan?
Pan? That's not a name I expected to hear. Been sniffing around you, has he?
I have some suspicions, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Pan lurks at the edges because he likes it there, seeking out whatever profit he thinks he can get away with. Avoid him, dear, or he'll stick to you like gum to the bottom of your shoe.
Oh, I know.
Who has access to the reliquary? Is it anyone with a key, or...
Doesn't matter, you gained access, so clearly it is not difficult to get. Speaking of which, I don't suppose you'll tell me who gave you that key.
The same person gave it to me, who gave it to Calliope.
And who gave it to Calliope then?
I don't need
I
to tell you.
see.
All right, let's talk about Medusa.
Met her, have you?
I just have to know why. Of all the people you could have working for you, why her?
We could have left her behind. I elected to bring her because, in the end, she is my responsibility. But Medusa didn't want charity. She volunteered to work in my service. It's trying at times. Now, if there isn't anything else...
Oh, there is else.
Okay, so you don't like Pan much. I get that. But do you think he could kill someone?
We've all killed, my dear. I was once a warrior queen, feared by mortals and gods alike.
Another idol, I mean.
Is that where your investigation has led you? To Pan?
Sort of, but I feel like I'm missing something important. Maybe the goddess of wisdom could help me out?
It would be helpful to know what Calliope was doing at the reliquary, but she's not available to ask.
You don't
Not
say.
until you regain her memories, at least.
Why not put off the trial until then? Seems like a good way to solve all this. Yeah?
And trust what you decide to share? I think not.
Speaking of the reliquary, you went there, right? Once Hecate told you what happened?
Yeah, I was not impressed by the delay.
If you had known about that, the night Calliope died, would it have made a difference?
The chances are exceedingly small that you attacked her there, it's true. Yet, Calliope was weakened, which made her more vulnerable prey for an enterprising mortal. One she knew. Perhaps the incidents are connected, perhaps not. I cannot afford the risk of uncertainty, Grace. I'm sorry.
I guess I'll get back to my investigation.
I am rooting for you, Grace. If there's another way to resolve this, any way at all, I will take it.
Will you? Really?
Good luck. Feel free to take a cookie on your way out.
I don't know if I trust your cookies, lady. How are we not on Act 3?
Well, I can't say I'm surprised.
Oh my God.
Athena has always struggled in a crisis.
Well, that's a nice way of putting it.
Remember, she was a warrior. When pressed, she's always turned to that aspect, sought to maintain absolute control. It'd be hypocritical to say it's wrong of her. She's battled for me as much as for anyone.
Do you think she's telling the truth? About the idols dying out?
Yes, though I find it odd she chose to tell you.
Maybe Athena thought, who'd believe Grace if she blabbed about it anyway?
Sadly, while I'd prefer to stay in her good graces, I doubt that will be possible.
Uh-oh, what now?
You may not like this, but you need to go back to the reliquary.
Why? I bet I know why. I don't think I do. I don't think I do know why.
What for? Is there something I need to ask Hecate?
Here's the thing. We don't know why Calliope went there, but it must have been important.
Okay, I'll bite. How would I find that out? You think she left clues?
Remember how I told you it'd be years before you got Calliope's memories back? Well, that's true, but not entirely.
Okay.
Those memories are inside you. You go somewhere important to Calliope or touch something special to her, you will get flashes, feelings.
Do you want Grace to go to the reliquary so she can have deja vu?
Why can't I do that in her apartment?
Whatever happened to Calliope there, it ended her life. All we need to do is uncover those memories.
Last time Freddy and I were there, Hecate wouldn't let us into the reliquary. Not without Athena's permission.
Okay. Do you want to ask Athena for permission?
It just seems like a radical step. For you.
A week ago, I would have said that breaking into the reliquary couldn't be done. A week ago, I couldn't have imagined being here. My stance on a lot of things has changed. If you have another idea, however, I'm happy to go along with it.
What about the alarms? I'm not eager to have Asterion chasing me through the fog.
Calliope snuck in without setting off any alarms. At least at first.
Well, I'll be following in Calliope's footsteps, won't I? What if I follow the wrong footstep and set them off?
Then the alarms bring Asterion and Hecate, and all three of us do a great deal of apologizing.
Let's just hope that's all those alarms do.
Are you sure about this? You want me to wander around hoping something comes to me?
Am I sure? No. No, I'm not.
Oh, That's comforting.
What if Medusa is lying? What about Pan? We could look into him some more, couldn't we?
Oh, well, do you have a way we could look into those things without encountering even more lies?
Deja vu it is.
Let's say I do this. What am I hoping to find?
Some memory of what happened to Calliope, even a flash. Anything that gives us something to work with.
And if that doesn't happen?
Make it happen, Grace. As if your life depends on it.
I can really see why the idols call you the cheery one.
I'm sorry, but why is she here again?
Is there really no other way? This seems a bit desperate.
I think that's kind of the point, Grace.
There isn't much time left, and I'm out of ideas that won't take more time than we have.
Well, there's always running, right? Grace leaves the city, goes on a world tour, becomes rich and famous. It's just me. Okay then.
Right then. Back to the reliquary it is.
Any idea how you want to do this, Grace? Because I'm game to help.
Cool. I'm sure we can figure something out.
I can't go into the reliquary with you. Not without tipping off Hecate. But I won't be far. If I get the slightest sense that something has gone wrong, I am coming in. Still, promise me you won't take risks.
I promise that.
Well, this whole thing is a risk, isn't it?
Why are they? I don't want them together.
Don't remind me.
I don't want them together.
Ugh, can we just get on with this already?
I don't like them together. Oh, fine. I am not seeing an Act 3. Am I really? I can't even pause. Okay, fine, we'll see what this does. Well, Stereo did say there is a back way. And he does say that that's how he thinks that Calliope got in, so it's kind of what we're doing here.
Wait, are you sure this is right? Was that the right door?
You're asking me like I'm supposed to know?
It just feels like we're back outside again. Maybe that was some kind of portal or...
Or maybe we're right where we're supposed to be.
Then
Should be
we
careful.
should be careful. Remember what the Minotaur said? Alarms. Magical defenses.
None of which killed Calliope, we think. But sure, I hear you.
How do we avoid getting lost? It's like a labyrinth.
Oh, it is a labyrinth, but I've never had any trouble finding my way around.
Hi.
Hey, easy. Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, no need to freak out. I'm a guardian, sure, but I'm not a monster. But, yeah, you know you're not supposed to be in here, right?
I'm not lying.
I need this, Asterion. I have to figure out what Calliope did here. Please, can't you just let us look around?
Oh, it's just... Kate would be so mad.
She knows you're the sweetest, most thoughtful bullman there is. She'd understand.
I want to, but
I'd really appreciate it.
I need to bring you back to Kate. I'm so sorry. Oh no. Hey, come back! Oi, come back!
Uh-oh. Did he chase after Freddy?
Okay. I don't hear anything. I think I'm all right. I hope Freddy's okay. She'd better be. First things first, how do I do this? Where do I even start? Calliope must have been here. She could have stood in this very spot. Maybe if I just... focus.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll help. Oh, maybe it will.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I've definitely been here before.
Whoa. I hate that. Look at egg.
I don't get any feeling from that. Will I know it when I see it? Is that a weapon? A musical instrument? Maybe it's both. What did Freddy say about mazes? Was it always go left? Or go left and then go right? Is this an armory, too? Freddy? Are you out there? Can you hear me?
That has nothing to do with an apple.
What am I doing? All that'll do is tell everyone where I am. They should really charge for tours. It's kind of amazing. I don't even know what language that is. Shouldn't that be in a museum somewhere? This is it. Calliope was here. She was standing right here. And she...
Whoa. No, that doesn't seem like a good idea.
Uh-oh.
Hello? We can talk about this. I don't...
Hello? Do you work for Hecate? Are you guardians or something?
They're like mannequins. That's weird.
Okay then.
I'm not gonna make these mannequins sing, am I? No, of course not. Off I go.
What's happening? Why didn't it work? Grace? Freddy! We've got to run! My powers don't work on them, they just keep coming!
Freddy, what are you gonna do? Freddy, no. Freddy, I don't agree with this. Freddy, no. Oh no.
No, I won't let you!
Excuse me?
Freddy!
Okay, I see. Yeah, okay. What, hang on. No. No. What? But she's gonna be okay, right? Right? She's gonna be okay?
Oh god. Oh god, Freddy.
Oh, this is a good luck for me, huh?
Oh no. Oh, Grace.
You summoned the Furies.
What?
Those beings were the Furies, beyond all our laws. Not idols, but the embodiment of retribution. How did you draw them here?
I didn't. There was a big mirror, but I didn't even touch it.
There is only one mirror of which you could be speaking. That used by the goddess Nyx to contact the Fates. Using the mirror would not have brought the Furies down upon you. Not unless the Fates themselves decreed it.
I don't care what brought them. They killed Freddy. You need to help her.
I have no power over life and death, Grace. None of us have that. This was no defense or spell of the reliquaries. I do not have the power to summon the Furies, and I know none who do. You should consider yourself fortunate, Grace. They do not desist until retribution has been exacted. But now is when you leave. Pray the knowledge you obtained was worth the price.
It was not.
No, I'm not leaving Freddy. Not like this. All this magic. There has to be something. Don't tell me there's no way to undo this.
We have to leave. We have to leave now.
But, Freddy. But why? How is this game still going? This can't be happening. Freddy, she's gone. I knew I shouldn't have let her keep coming with me, but I didn't think she could die. Freddy sacrificed her life for me. She stopped the Furies from killing me, and it's my fault she's dead. What am I going to do now? Alright, so the new plan is for me to go back to the reliquary, break into the part of it where Calliope went the night she died, and hope I remember something about what might have happened to her. It's a long shot, and I have zero idea what it's going to be like to recall someone else's memories, but I have to try. And it worked. Kind of. Calliope went to the reliquary that night to contact the Fates with a magical mirror, but she never got the chance to speak with them. Just like me, she was attacked by the Furies. Not idols, but embodiments of retribution. They enforced the idol's ancient laws, the kind that Zeus used to command, which surely died with him. Unlike with me, the Furies must have stabbed Calliope before she ran away. What that doesn't tell me is why she needed to contact the Fates so badly. It also doesn't tell me who sent the Furies after her in the first place, and then also me. According to Hecate, none of the idols have that kind of power. Considering the price we paid, I really wish we'd learn more. I go back to the apartment, and who's there waiting for me? Hermes. Not because they entered through some magical portal, though. Freddy let them in. She and Hermes are, what, pals now? That's weird, right? Did I say Hermes was suspicious? I talked to them a bit at the apartment, and honestly they seemed like the least suspicious idol of them all so far. Earnest, always eager to help. The world could use another Hermes or two. Okay, no more for Aphrodite, any more from Apollo. Halfway through the week she gave me, Athena summons me to her office too. I'm not sure. Apologize? Lecture me? She wasn't happy about my visit to the reliquary, sure. But mostly she wanted to tell me about how the idols are dying. As in, actually dying. Losing their immortality. The whole thing. That's gotta be hard for beings that have been around for most of forever. But is that supposed to justify the trial? Athena can't take a chance on a lowly usurper like myself, besmirching the great idol legacy as it quietly sunsets. She's like the strict school teacher, who wants to be the cool teacher, but just can't help herself. Apollo explained away Athena's behavior. She's a total control freak, sure, but that's how she's kept the idols alive for so long. Why she hasn't told the idols are dying, Apollo really couldn't say. Pan? Eros? Hecate? I really hope Hecate isn't too mad at me for sneaking back into the reliquary. And then everything that happened after. Idols calm down eventually, right? Asterion caught me breaking into the reliquary, and I'm afraid I ran for it and left him panicking about what Hecate was going to say. I really hope I didn't get him into too much trouble. He'll forgive me, right? Okay. Please be the last place to go. Please. Oh, thank goodness that was Act 2. Oh, I can finish. Yay. Okay, no more. No. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is an amazing game. This is really, really cool. I mean, considering I've been playing it for nearly 6 hours now, you'd think I'd have a positive look at it,